Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and of course, I am the host of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show. If you would, please go ahead and stand, or at least put your hand over your heart for the playing of the Star Spangled Banner. Thank you, and please remain as you are for the playing of the Pledge of Allegiance led by John Wayne. That's right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this party started. That's right.
I'm lost and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner. Is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion.
Brandon's lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Ripon Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Coming to you from a secret cave, hidden deep within the wilderness. This is the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And we are broadcasting live from a secret cave hidden deep within the wilderness of Tennessee. That's right. We're ripping through the electromagnetic soup. We're tearing through the atmosphere. And we're tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Wednesday, January the 26th, 2022. That's right. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, January the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad that you chose us to be right there with you. That's right, folks. Tonight we are going to dive down into another new state. That's right, we have a list of new states on our State of Mystery series here. You know, last week we did New Hampshire. This week we're going to discuss the paranormal state of mystery of New Jersey. Next week we're going to hit New Mexico, and I think New York's not too far behind that. So a bunch of new states, if you will, guys, in the state countdown list, or the state list of paranormal states of mystery. That's right. And we're going to dive deep down into the paranormal rabbit hole that is the state of mystery of New Jersey here in just a moment. But first, let's see who all we have out here in our chat rooms tonight, both in the riponrabbithole.com as well as the Dark Wolf's Den Show. How you all doing over here tonight? Like JJ over in the house on the Dark Wolf's Den Show channel. Glad to have you, JJ. Raul in the house. Glad to have you over here, Raul. Excuse me. Good to see you, my friend. It says, oh yeah, love that chick channel. She has a beautiful voice and such a cool song. I fully agree, Raul. If you wonder what we're talking about, Raider Champion over in the Ripon Rabbit Hole posted, and I also posted over here the link to the intro song Wonderland by Michael Musco and Chick, of course. Prairie Fire over in the riponrabbithole.com. Glad to see you over here, Prairie Fire. I'm sorry, YouTube channel. Bill Knight, Mary Day, Bill. Glad to have you along for the ride, along with the Ripon Rabbit himself, Mr. AJ. Glad to have you, AJ. Terry Taggart says, hey y'all, hey Terry, glad to have you here. I mentioned Raider Champion checking in over there. Earth Daughter on time. Normally Earth Daughter checks in the second half. We're glad to see her a little early tonight. Glad she was able to make it. Man, Danny Mull, glad to see you. Kinley Johnson as well as Flippin' Rob. Good to have all you guys here tonight. I know this is a paranormal show, but I gotta say, I read a news report the other day that bothered me a lot. You guys know Meatloaf passed away, and I'm a big fan of Meatloaf. I really am. And I read an article where Howard Stern, I get it, he does shock radio, that's his thing, doing crazy stuff, went to the family of Meatloaf and asked them to lie and say that he regretted not doing certain things that he was totally against. It's really mind-boggling to me that they're even able to print this stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the state of our world today. And speaking of states, we've got the state of New Jersey tonight. I hope you guys enjoy that for sure. on YouTube chat rooms or around the world on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, where we can always be found if any of our social media platforms around here go down. You can always catch us at RIPON, That's right. Or after the show, you might be catching us on replay over on BitChute or Rumble. Shout out to all of you guys. Also, it's a pleasure to have every last one of you guys along for this wild ride. How? Yeah, that's right. Folks, real quick programming note. As you guys know, the Freedom Flame broadcast is coming up soon, March 20th to be exact. Definitely got something to look forward to there, guys. But man, oh man, do we have some fun stuff planned. But I know a lot of you have been wondering what happened to our Freedom Flame series. Well, just in time to celebrate the Freedom Flame, ladies and gentlemen, starting in February, we will be bringing the Freedom Flame series back, as we took a minute to retool the series and have even got ourselves a new co-host. I'll let her tell you when the time is right who she is. If she chooses to, it's somebody you guys might know a little better than you think. That's right. Big stuff coming. Once again, in February, we are kicking the Freedom Flame series back off as we build towards the Freedom Flame celebration here on the Ripon Rabbit Hole on March 20th. That's right. And of course, we do now need to go ahead and start talking about our state of mystery this week, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do, of course, we have two more fun little segments we have to do. The first of which we call Today in History. On this day in 1998, then President Bill Clinton says this to the American people.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
That, of course, would turn out to be another massive lie from a Clinton. Today, nothing less is expected. Back then, we were a little bit more naive, right? Anyway, he told this amazing lie on this day in 1998, and that is today's segment of Today in History.
Say what?
Our quote of the day today, ladies and gentlemen, comes from, oh wow, none other than also former President Bill Clinton himself. He says, and I quote,
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
We know, Bill, we know. However, at least you're adamant and stick to your lie, unlike Dr. Fauci, who can't figure out which lie he wants to stick to. What a sad little man. Just saying. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is today's segment of...
Say what?
Was that too much? Maybe that was too much. I don't know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to discuss the paranormal state of mystery that is New Jersey. That's right. And New Jersey has a number of paranormal activities going on there. Of course, we all know about the Jersey Devil, so that is not a story that you're going to hear here tonight. If you're tuning in to hear about the Jersey Devil, I hate to disappoint, but we look for stories that fall through the cracks and don't get told on every single station ever. We try to bring you something just a little more different, the raw case files, if you will. And of course, this week we have our buddy Ben Miller back along for the ride as he helps us uncover the cryptids in the state of New Jersey. What do you got to start things off for us tonight, Ben?
Much like Illinois, New Jersey has quite a few cryptids packed inside a relatively small state, such as the one that has been spotted mainly around Sussex County, but also in surrounding locations since 1975 until present. The creature is known simply as Big Red Eye.
You know, you really got to appreciate the names of some of these local creatures, right? Big Red Eye. I would think of like the creature off of Monsters, Inc. You guys remember that cartoon? The walking eyeball? What was Mike, I think his name was? Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of the Big Red Eye. However, this is a cryptid that another version of one we've seen across many different states. Check this out.
While hearing that name, you may think it is something of nightmare fuel, such as the image I should be showing you, but in reality, it actually is simply described as being a Bigfoot.
That's right, folks. New Jersey has its own Bigfoot, believe it or not. It's in every single state we have found. I haven't played the case files, I don't believe, for Bigfoot in all the states because some of them are really packed with cryptids, right? But we have seen Bigfoot all across the country. Many, many, many case files, a lot like this one.
This being is said to stand around 7 feet tall, some say 8, and is thought to weigh around 400 pounds. Which sort of fits due to so many reports stating it is quite lanky, since most Sasquatch have the same height, but are said to be anywhere from 600 to 1,000 pounds. This creature is always described as being very hairy, but I have yet to see a color mentioned, although most represent it as reddish brown.
And this is twice in the last couple of weeks, I do believe, that we have had this skinny, lanky, smaller Bigfoot variant, if you will, to use a commonly today used term, but a different type of species of Bigfoot. Another thing I find really intriguing because New Jersey's a northern area and I would expect to find a much bigger Bigfoot creature. So this one is kind of out of place for me considering its location, right guys?
The main distinct feature is that the Sasquatch is said to have red eyes. Not in the sense that they glow, but that the pupil is actually red. Most sightings occur around 2:30 in the morning, where people hear it in the forest letting out a low, blood-curdling scream, which can last for up to an hour and is heard for miles around.
That would get pretty annoying, right? Every night at 2:30 in the morning, this sudden alarming howl or scream can be heard all around. Have there been any sightings of whatever's causing this screaming noise, Ben?
According to sightings, this creature has been spotted quite a few times by park rangers at High Point State Park. In one retelling, armed rangers went into the woods to discover what was making such a terrible noise, and they both came running back out, terrified and refusing to return to the area. One of the rangers, named Tom Card, said that the sound was like a scream and a howl that was quite unnerving.
Of course, we know from previous case files that the scream and howl type sound is pretty normal for these cryptids, right? There was one, well, there's been a couple who have claimed to record Bigfoot screams. I believe there was one on Art Bell, wasn't it? Or was that George Norrie had taken over Coast to Coast by then? I'm not sure, but I know there is one really famous one. I do believe it was Art Bell. I just don't want to misattribute that. But just the same, it matches what we know from previous case files of Bigfoots or Big Feets, or what is the plural of Bigfoots? Big Feet. We're going to have to figure that out too. But anyway, the point is it matches what we've seen before, so it makes me more inclined to believe this case file.
Tom is now retired, but he had spent 40 years of his life in the surrounding forests and knew this sound didn't come from any animal found in normal textbooks. A woman from Sussex County named J.D. Grant heard the calls of this being a few times, but in 1996 she got to see it firsthand. J.D. and a friend were walking down Layton Road, where they both suddenly saw a tall, hairy being walking on two legs, crossing into the forest before them. It was covered in fur, had red eyes, and very long, lanky arms. She recalled that it stood just inside the tree line, watching them. The being didn't give off an ominous feeling, but the two decided to not go any farther and returned home. JD stated that the creature moved incredibly silent, which was impressive for its size.
Now, that is a very interesting detail. about this Bigfoot opposed to all the other Bigfootses is that it was quite quiet compared to its size, moving even into the wooded area, I would assume. But the detail was that it was much more quiet than it should have been for the size that it was. A little smaller than the other Bigfootses, right?
A woman named Amanda encountered this cryptid one night on her way home. While driving down a dirt road known as Shady Lane, she suddenly saw what she described as an awkward-looking bear. This creature walked bipedally, and she says when she stopped her car, the creature stopped as well. The two took a few minutes of staring at each other before the being walked across the road and vanished into the forest. Amanda stated that what was remarkable was that the creature had red pupils, since she could see the white around them.
Definitely a very strange aspect of this case file too is the eye color, and the reason I find that a little strange is we've actually tracked this across a couple different states where these creatures have different colored eyes. I believe one had yellow eyes, right? And we've got red eye here, and it's just weird that these creatures are described with such different variation but likenesses at the same time, and it's variations that one would expect, right? As you and I would have different color eyes. Some of you out there have blue or green, or myself, hazel, that does a changing color pattern every now and then on their own, right? But you guys know what I mean. Like, it's a biological expectation of a natural creature that they would have different eye colors, right? And we know that the red eyes are usually found in albinos. This doesn't seem to be an albino, but one argument that the skeptics always do make is that they're escaped gorillas, right? This is another one I just keep thinking about lately. And I just got to say, if all the Bigfoot stories are escaped gorillas, folks, we have a epidemic and a pandemic in this country of gorillas escaping in every single state apparently now, and they've learned how to hide from us as not to get caught again. We really should get on this, guys, because we've got Bigfoot everywhere, or if they are escaped gorillas, we got escaped gorillas on the loose, left, right, and center, folks. We've really got a problem here. We should probably get on that if that's the case, right? But enough ranting about the skeptics, those that, practice scientism, not science reality. Remember, the gorilla itself was a Bigfoot until 1902. Don't forget that, folks. These are the guys that keep saying trust the science. Another line that you and I both know the meaning of, right? Leading on, ladies and gentlemen, Ben, what else do we have on our amazing list of cryptids for the state of New Jersey?
Now moving on, we find a cryptid that I really wanted to talk about since I first saw the name of it, and that is the Gator Man.
I'm with Ben on this one. The name sounds incredibly interesting already. Definitely not something that I would expect to find in a place like New Jersey, right? I would expect to find maybe Florida or Texas or maybe even California. But definitely not in New Jersey. You've definitely got my attention. Ben, what do you got, bud?
This cryptid is actually found in various forms in many other states, frequently just called lizard men. But the one in New Jersey has a particularly strange addition to the tale, although the state does have a fair share of lizard men sightings also.
Okay, as far as reptilians go, I'll give you that one. I guess I kind of should have thought about that, but still, interesting name just the same. We have reptilians all over New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. That is kind of close to D.C. That would explain a little bit. I'm just saying. I'm not saying David Icke might have been onto something. Then again, David Icke might have been onto something.
I couldn't find much detail about this creature, other than sightings were originally reported by settlers in the 1700s. However, in a more recent twist, this being started popping up again in reports in the Newton-Lafayette area in 1973 and abruptly stopped by 1977. From all the information I could gather, this cryptid looks exactly like its namesake would imply. It stands around 6 foot tall, walks on 2 legs, has clawed hands and feet, and it also has a humanoid head that is lined with incredibly sharp-looking teeth.
That sounds scary, but let's see over here. My buddy Chris Spivey jumping in on the Dark Wolf's Den Show chat. Glad to see you, my old friend, like a brother to me over here. As a matter of fact, my parents used to call him son. I ain't even kidding on that. Talking about Big Red Eye, he said, that's just Chris Christie after a few beers, that's all. That's the Bigfoot problem they got over in New Jersey. They've named it Chris Christie, apparently. Oiler Greg, good to see you, my friend. Quite a few guys. Sandy B checking in finally over here with Overprotected. Glad to see you, Overprotected. Yeah, these gator men. This is something entirely different, but then again, lizards, you know, we always be hearing about these lizard case files, right? These reptilians that live underground. Like I said, maybe David Icke was onto something after all.
It also goes without mentioning that it has a long, thick tail like an alligator.
Hey, wait a minute. I remember this dude. It was in a cartoon I used to watch in the 80s. Was it Batman or Ninja Turtles? Let me know over there in the chat. Was it Batman or Ninja Turtles? One of those, I believe, fought a walking, talking gator, right? You guys remember that one? I think it even wore clothes or something, right? Carried a gun. I remember I've seen it. I just don't remember which cartoon it is. And I know you guys think I'm saying that slickly joking, but in all seriousness, we do know the concept of predictive programming, where they're telling us more truth than they're letting on. Of course, what better way than in cartoons to get the kids ready for what they might see later, right? At least those open-minded enough to see. But just the same, maybe 80s cartoons could teach us a whole lot, right? In the end, good wins, and reptile creatures are real. I mean, they apparently are in New Jersey.
From all accounts, it has greenish-brown scaly skin, and it has been said that it is smart enough to use primitive tools.
So you guys do remember it over in the chat. AJ the Ripon Rabbit saying Ninja Turtles. JoJo's over in the Dark Wolf's Den Show saying Ninja Turtles. It was the Ninja Turtles. Okay. I couldn't remember. I knew it was one of them that I used to watch all the time. So, like I said, I know that I recognize this creature. I just could not remember which one it was. Ninja Turtles. Appreciate that, guys.
On November of 1974, a man driving at night near the area of Wayne was startled by a reptilian creature crossing the road in front of his headlights.
Now, I think it could use much more than just primitive tools. If it's a reptilian creature, and the reptilian lore is true that they've been here much longer than even us humans have, I guarantee much higher technology is available to these type creatures, at least in my opinion.
It was described as being tall, scaly, and had a reptilian head and bulging eyes. If we want to make this even stranger, I saw many reports that in 1977, Albert Holstruck, a New York City conservation naturalist, made an official report that the southern tier was home to a strange creature. In this report, he said, and I quote, "A scaled, man-like creature that appears at dusk from the red algae-ridden waters to forage among the ferns and moss-covered uplands." Now, when I first saw this, my immediate thought was, even though I believe in some cryptids, that this must be some type of joke, since not many professionals would risk their career to make something like this public. Yet, I saw everyone reporting the same thing, even including cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman. I'm not wanting to make this a debunked video, but I did want to point out something I didn't find while looking this up. That is, anything about Albert Holstruck. Looking up his name provided no documents, with this being said, no pictures of him, nothing. What it did bring up was references to him talking about the Gator Man and other people's websites about the cryptid, nothing firsthand. I am not saying everyone is lying, since this information can be hard to find, but at the moment, I find the official report suspect.
Another very important trait for any good paranormal researcher worth their salt is to do their best to debunk the stories and dig into deeper into the case files. Of course, we wouldn't have time to present many in the show if we dug too deep, right, in each one. But the sign of a good researcher is the ability to question and attempt to discredit the case file, and by that way, in such means, end up proving it right. That's why I present so many on this show. And we just tend to find that there's a lot of consistencies among a lot of these case files, right? So when you find something like this, it might be suspect, but it's something to at least put in the file. And if there's later confirmation, cool. If not, then it's one piece of evidence you can let go amongst a pile. And how many grains of sand do you need to build a beach? Maybe you could lose one or two, right? And still have plenty, right?
The last one is going to be really strange, but I am including it since it once again proves that something that has been cited by many people and that is ruled a myth can actually exist. This is the story of the ghost cow, otherwise known as the Grigston cow, due to where it was seen.
You remember I mentioned a little bit ago that the gorilla was a cryptid creature until 1902, right? And we know that scientism is never right, as that's what rules a lot of science. And the difference between science and scientism, folks, I've got a good way to explain it. Scientism makes the evidence fit the narrative. Science makes the narrative fit the evidence, right?
In that area, dairy farming was a big business, but as time went on, less farms would be found. In 1972, people started reporting seeing a large cow near the Millstone River flood plain, but every time the reports were checked, no evidence of an animal were left behind. Many of the sightings occurred during foggy weather, so just the shape of it could be seen. A few photographs were taken, but they all showed a quality that was akin to most Bigfoot images: blurry. These sightings continued for 30 years, and it became known as an urban legend and ruled a myth.
It's not every day you hear about a ghost cow, but what's really, really interesting about this story is sometimes myths have a lot more truth than originally thought.
This all changed when on November 23rd of 2002, a water authority employee called the DNR Park Canal office, stating he saw a cow matching the description of the ghost cow lying in a ravine near the Raritan Canal. Park officials
Sorry about that, folks. Little technical difficulty there. I'm not sure what happened, but let's see if we can get that to play correctly here now. Apparently it doesn't like us talking about this cryptid, right? Or is it a cryptid at all?
Department arrived at the scene, and there was an old bull lying in the ravine. Sadly, this animal was very old and weak and had to be put down as it no longer could stand on its own. Due to no one claiming the cow or reporting one missing, it was buried near the canals that it had made its home.
And just like that, science even had to admit that the ghost cow was real. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is your cryptids for the state of New Jersey, at least as many as we can get to in the first half. And we do have to go ahead and take a network break. So my name's Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you're listening to the Dark Wolf's Den radio show exclusively on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. We'll be back with the hauntings of New Jersey right after this. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. That's right.
We gotta stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Oh yeah, that howl means your weekend has begun. Hi everyone, it's AJ the Ripon Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's Dark Wolf's Den radio show, State of Mystery for New Jersey? I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell, and you'll get our notifications every time we go live. We're here every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, bringing you the very best of common sense radio, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den will return again tomorrow night, Thursday, January 27th. Come along with him as he dives through the state of mystery of New Mexico. I've been through New Mexico, and believe me, it is a mysterious state that's full of mystery. Again, that starts tomorrow night, starting at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, as all shows do. And I'll return with the Ripon Rabbit Hole live show Friday night, January 28th, 2022. A journey down through the rabbit hole in the exploration of mesmerism. That's right, early form of hypnosis was called mesmerism. We're going to dive through that rabbit hole on Friday night. Then Saturday, January 29th, come along with me as I dive through the rabbit hole of angel numbers. Have you noticed this lately? Sometimes you look up at the clock and it's 222 or 444. We're going to talk all about it Saturday night and end out the weekend right together with you. Sunday night, January 30th, with the Land of the Free. That's right, Land of the Free on Sunday night. It's going to be a great way to end out the weekend and the month together with you. But guess what? That means you get an extended weekend next weekend, because Tuesday night videos jumps over Monday into February 1st, all right, the first Tuesday of the month. Join your host, Raider Champion, in the Backstage VIP chat lounge at riponrabbithole.com for Tuesday night videos, February 1st. Again, starts at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. It's going to be a St. Valentine's Day Massacre show. They'll be exploring music from the world of organized crime, plus music trivia, followed by open requests. Again, Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. Raider Champion's poster for the event includes a wanted poster for Tandy B. That's TNV, happening Tuesday, February 1st. We'll return back to Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den show for New Jersey State of Mystery. You're listening to the Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Dark Wolf's Den show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And welcome back to the second half of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Wednesday, January the 26th, 2022. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, so far tonight, if you're just tuning in, we have covered a number of strange cryptids in the state of New Jersey, from a gator man to a odd Bigfoot and even a ghost cow. Check that out if you missed any of that so far. And if you miss anything we do, make sure you go over to the riponrabbithole.com, as we always have special announcements over there, like the one AJ put out last Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, March 20th, 2022, the 5th celebration of the Freedom Flame broadcast. We are going to do a 24-hour live stream, ladies and gentlemen, something even I myself have never done before, and I am super excited. I told you guys we had a lot of great stuff we had planned, and there's so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. Keep checking back to riponrabbithole.com for further updates. That is riponrabbithole.com. Make sure you join us March 20th, 19th, and 20th, as a matter of fact, for a very, very special Freedom Flame broadcast. May the flame of freedom burn brightly to the end of time. At least I do hope. And I know every one of you also that normally have been here for the last couple of years at least can appreciate the true was the importance of the Freedom Flame, especially in relation to Ripon, Wisconsin, and the birth of the Republican Party. But I don't want to get too far off topic, but it's because of the freedom that we have that we can discuss these weird and strange topics like tonight's paranormal state of mystery of New Jersey. And like I said, we've covered the cryptids in the first half, and now we're going to get into the hauntings of New Jersey. And I can tell you real quickly that it's interesting. They released this video on the Speakeasy on YouTube. Check that channel out if you're interested. On January 18th, serendipitously with this episode. So another interesting synchronicity from the universe, right?
The Flanders Hotel. In the present, the Flanders Hotel acts as a popular vacation destination year-round.
So you can actually visit the Flanders Hotel. Also, glad to have you in the room. My Life DIY hanging out in the Dark Wolf's Den Show chat over here. Says, I brought a note. I made it. Better late than never. Agreed. Better late than never. Glad to have you here. My Life DIY. Mandela Effect Memories checking in. Glad to have you, Mandela Effect Memories. I probably share a lot of your Mandela affected memories, of course. JJ checking in again. Griffin Winter, glad to have you here, Griffin Winter. I don't know why I said Griffin. Apparently my pronouncer mispronounced that time. Deranged Lunatic, aka DL, glad to have you also along for the ride, checking in. A little late, but better late than never. This place here, once again, this first one on the list is one that you could actually visit and do your own research into this if you are willing to. Check this out.
With accommodations ranging from luxury suites to impressive penthouses. More recently, this prestigious site has picked up a reputation for its chilling paranormal activity, with both staff and guests reporting doors that open and close on their own, lights that flicker, and bulbs that literally unscrew themselves, and the soothing yet somehow foreboding disembodied sounds of a young girl heard singing from the hall.
These hotel ones really intrigue me as a person that worked and lived in a hotel for quite a few years, as a matter of fact. I can tell you I never experienced anything directly with the ghost of the hotel, but I do know that there was an energy that I could sense there. The last one that I lived in, these really are interesting. And there's another one that I've had a number of reports from somebody that's been working on renovating a local hotel, doing night work, that has given me reports of the same, hearing doors open and close, people running down the hall, things like that, that he's the only one in the building, so it's impossible that these things are there physically. However, the haunting is very real, right? So these haunted hotels are very interesting, and this seems to be an active haunting, definitely not a replay type haunting. Very interactive with the environment, and the singing, that's interesting. We've heard this a couple different times in case files, right? This singing spirit that keeps coming through. Very interesting that, and as we know, singing generally has an emotional aspect to it, right?
The most famous legend surrounding the Flanders tells of one Emily, a young lady in her 20s whose boyfriend went away to World War I, but sadly never returned. Her ghost has been known to manifest about the hotel as a woman in white, and has been described as displaying a cheerful demeanor, often while playing small pranks on the living.
And once again, a perfect example of a spirit that holds the personality even on the other side. Goes to show that consciousness, personality, spirit, we're all saying the exact same thing. We're just calling it different words, right? You carry on the personality, you carry on the consciousness, and that also holds an emotional element to it as she is waiting for her lost love to return in this particular case, right? Next up on our list, we have our obligatory haunted university. Check it out, folks.
Rowan University. Rowan University remains open into the present, accommodating a formidable enrollment of around 20,000 students across 14 different colleges and schools.
So yet another one that you can visit on your own if you would like to do your own research. Also over here, I must give a shout out in the Ripon rabbit hole. Earl Taylor, glad to have you along for the ride. Says, let's go Brandon FJB. I cannot disagree with that. Sandy B over here also.
Over its lengthy existence, a number of campus legends of the paranormal variety have formed, and across the university's expanse, both faculty and students have reported objects sighted moving on their own, disembodied voices and footsteps heard from empty spaces, and ghostly figures sighted darting around corners or through the windows of buildings that are closed and locked up for the night.
So once again, you have your very active, even prankful type spirits. Playful, nothing, it doesn't sound very negative, just playful and attention getting, right? But active just the same.
Bunce Hall, which acted as the original campus building, is said to be a hotspot for the otherworldly, and within, many have described strange thuds, bumps, and creaking heard at all times of the day.
Okay, now, the age of the buildings, and this being the original building on campus, I could definitely see a lot of weird sounds coming out of that building just by the nature of the age of it, right? The house settling normally has every day some weird, odd sounds, cracks, pops, things like that. Weird creaking noises at times. So it is almost expected that that would be in a building this old. However, as I've said many times, how many grains of sand does it take to make a beach?
Doors that open and close on their own, extreme cold spots, the sensations of being touched or grabbed by someone unseen, and shadowy figures that stalk the living.
Yeah, I would say there's much more going on here than a building settling. What about you guys? This sounds very active to me, right? Interactive directly with humans nonetheless. I'm surprised we don't have the battery drainage with something that has this much energy connected to it. Then again, being in college, maybe it is feeding off the emotional energy of all those around. Just a theory, right?
A more commonly encountered manifestation at Bunce is rumored to be that of the university's first drama teacher.
Now, how dramatic is that the drama teacher would come back as a ghost, right?
One Elizabeth Toole, or more affectionately, Liz, who's been known to appear at random, startling all those nearby. Lastly, the ghost of Thomas Whitney, to whom the university's land originally belonged, has been sighted roaming about, an astounded look upon his face, and has been known to disappear when approached.
When you hear case files like that, it does make you wonder if it's literally two realities interacting there, not necessarily a ghost or spirit. And I can't call this stone tape because even though it's the same spirit showing up over and over, there's an interactivity to a degree. He looks confused at what he's seeing, as we would be if we were seeing a scene that was much different than what we are used to. If we were seeing the future, or if we walked out into our backyard and seen dinosaurs walking around right now, for instance, we would be a little confused, right? I just can't help but wonder with some of these ghost stories, if it's not ghost stories at all, but literally parallel realities pushing past each other. For those that believe in timelines smacking together would be another good analogy. But let's see what else we have up on our list of haunted places for New Jersey.
Burlington County Prison Museum. Burlington County Prison Museum, located off of High Street in Mount Holly, New Jersey.
Okay, can I just point out that there's a prison, or was a prison, now a prison museum on High Street? I just say.
Is a former lockup turned museum that, at the time of its closure, actually held the mantle of being the oldest operating prison in the country. The museum remains open into the present and is operated by a local nonprofit who offers both guided and self-guided touring options. Chillingly, countless executions, which were offered up as public events, were held within the prison's yard. Many violent deaths occurred on site, and local legend claims resulting restless spirits linger, with both staff and visitors reporting orbs and strange mists in photography.
And we know a prison most definitely fits our recipe for haunting, right? High trauma, high emotion, high chance of haunting, and you have you have two of those in just knowing that it's a prison and the executions would take place here. Not every prisoner is guilty. Not to say every prisoner is innocent. Let's not be, mistaken here. But not every prisoner is guilty. There are those that would be dealing with that higher level of emotion because they know they're innocent, as well as just being in a jailed setting increases the emotional and traumatic level anyway. As we are social creatures, being jailed away also is a very traumatic issue, as we know. So high emotion, high trauma, high chance of haunting. And here we have orbs and smoke or mist in the photos, and I've had a photo personally that has had the mist over it, so much so that I could see a face in the mist, and when I put this picture on the computer, lo and behold, my computer had error after error after, you name it, everything was crashing constantly. Took the picture off the computer, no more error. But I've had those misty photo incidents myself. Very interesting. But these here hauntings get a little more ramped up than just pictures of interesting captures.
High EMF levels, chilling EVPs, objects sighted moving on their own, inexplicable malfunctions with cellular devices, and encounters with the manifestation of a tall man in uniform.
The increased EMF levels is really interesting because, as we know, spirits for some reason drain electronic equipment, and that's how they're able to manifest into this reality. But when you have incidents here where they've got a lot of energy drained already and aren't manifesting, I would assume that it would have issues on the electronics around, and that's also what we find here is issues with cellular devices. Specifically, cellular devices I find interesting. I would expect more battery drain, but just the same, those two both make sense there. EVPs, that is a manifestation, of course, using some type of energy, electronic voice phenomena, as you guys know it's called. Very, very interesting, active haunting here at the prison. Well, prison museum, I should say.
Deep within the basement, one more popular story tells of Joel Clow, a 29-year-old man who stabbed a woman to death for turning him down, and who managed to escape from the prison, only to be recaptured and confined in the third-floor max security cell until his execution in the yard. Joel's spirit is rumored to remain in the max security cell, and can often be heard sobbing and moaning as he continues to wait out his final hours into eternity.
This place sounds incredibly spooky, right? And, if it is a place where they're killing people who have done horrendous things, for those who take the Christian, demonic, angelic point of view, there would be more than one demon, more likely than not, within these walls, as it probably would have jumped from prisoner to prisoner, or the multitude of demons would be jumping from prisoner to prisoner, or maybe all in one. You remember the story in the Bible of We Are Legion, where there was a literal legion of demons that had possessed this person, and they asked to go into the swine, and then the swine all ran into the ocean or the sea and killed themselves. But just the same, the point here is you don't have to have a whole lot to have these demonic activities by the demonic case files. And with these type of people in there, it would be expected that there would be negative or strange activity. Either way, we have a very, very active series of events going on here. Perhaps that Joel that he just spoke of is the entity that actually expresses itself in a manifest form. But it sounds like we have many manifesting here. But the state of New Jersey definitely has a lot of strange and paranormal cases under its belt. But what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think that New Jersey is a definite paranormal state of mystery, or do you think that we're barking up the wrong tree? In the end, folks, all you can do is look at the evidence, apply a little common sense, and
you be the judge.
That's right, Bubby. We got to close it out. That's right, that's it for this episode of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Wednesday, January the 26th, 2022. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the den may be closing, but don't you worry, the weekend fun has only just begun. Check it out. We will reopen again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. That's right, all new episode of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show, yet another state of mystery. Tomorrow we're going to be diving into the state down deep in the southwestern heart of the USA, the great state of New Mexico. I expect we're going to find some interesting paranormal stories there. I expect at least one cryptid, and of course we know we have Roswell, New Mexico to fall back on, if nothing else, right, folks? We're going to be discussing all kind of cryptids, ghosts, and much, much more tomorrow, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, as we cover the state of mystery of New Mexico. That's right. Then, when we close the den on Thursday, once we've got the weekend kicked off nice and right, we go ahead and throw the microphone on over to our buddy AJ the Ripon Rabbit as he picks up the airwaves for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, folks. And this is going to be another great weekend. Check it out on Friday. He's going to dive deep down the rabbit hole in exploration of the topic of mesmerism. In the early 1800s, this was a well-known thing and is still used in some medical practices today. Very, very interesting topic to choose from, and AJ will be discussing all the finer points of mesmerism on Friday, January 28th, 2022, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. All shows here on the network start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, like the show AJ will be covering on Saturday, January the 29th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, a topic that I like quite a bit. It is angel numbers, those numbers that happen to pop up very, very synchronistically in our lives. I know I live by angel numbers, and I know some of you out there also who do the 111, 222, 444. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 11, 11 a lot. What about you guys? I've known a couple people who get that 1, 2, 3, 4. Happens quite often for me, ladies and gentlemen. But angel numbers, incredibly interesting topic, and one you do not want to miss on Saturday, January 29th, 2022, 7 p.m. Pacific. That's right, folks. Then on Sunday, January 30th, 2022, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, AJ's here to round the weekend out right with a discussion on the land of the free. That's right. This is going to be a very patriotic show. I have no doubt. I love the flag we have on the background on that, guys. If you want to check that out, check out the riponrabbithole.com. We'll discuss that in a second. But AJ will be discussing the land of the free that will only remain that way as long as we're the home of the brave, just saying. But he'll be discussing a lot about patriotism and more on Sunday, January 30th, 2022, 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 Central. All this on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the riponrabbithole.com, RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. That's right, folks. That's where you're going to find updates on everything going on with us, like our Freedom Flame broadcast on March the 20th and 19th this year, 2022, as AJ announced the other day, and we are super excited to be part of the 24-hour special live stream event we're going to be doing on those days, folks. Definitely a ton of stuff that I can't talk about still, and I want to tell you guys so badly. You guys got to see Virtual Ripon. That's cool, isn't it, guys? Love the Virtual Ripon. But we've got the 24-hour live stream coming up the 24th. If you would like updates about all the fun stuff that we have coming up, make sure you do check out the riponrabbithole.com. You can also find our schedule over there under Listen Live. Click the on-air section. The live schedule will come up of all the topics we're going over, and go ahead and send that page out to all your friends. Let them all know where to find the best information and news on our homepage. We have the news all up to date, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, folks, we have to get out of here. On behalf of AJ the Ripon Rabbit, Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, Walt House, Tom Bayless, and Red Shed Studios, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you've been listening to the Dark Wolf's Den radio show exclusively on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember, stay awake, but dare to dream. That's right. Good night, everybody. All right. You guys already know. Let's go ahead and start blowing it up. Get that chat rolling.
Unlocked
See it.
and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here. 'Cause no one's ever.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. JoJo's, I see you over there. Let's go. Brandon, that's right. What else we got?
What a widow, a peaceful spider.
A little loud in my ears there.
When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis.
Can't hide them no more.
Oh, what a sinner.
What a sinner.
Is it in her?
Is it? That's right. Let's go, Brandon. FJB says Chris Spivey. That's right. Let's go, Brandon. FJB says My Life. Let's go, Brandon. JJ. That's right. Throw it up.
What's the truth in this riddle?
Sandy B checking in.
Is love really just this simple?
With the Let's Go, Brandon.
I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays.
FJB, FJB, FJB says Sandy B. Let's go, Brandon. FK Soros, that's right. F. George Soros, you say.
What a widow, a peaceful spider.
FYT.
When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider.
FJB.
Hide the lies and the alibis.
He's
What
a sinner.
Is it in her?
I like that, Sandy B. He's a sinner. That's right. You know he is. So does he. He's completely guilty. Let's go, Brandon. FJB. That's right. Blow it up, folks. Arrow Taylor over there. Blow it up. Spam the chat. Obama, bomber, the bomber, Obama.
Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion?
Obama.
Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
That's right, Raider champion Brandon's lost in a wonderland of delusion. That's right. It is a dark delusion for this crazy old man. He's had to back off lately. We've had to win, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, when we stick together, we win. Love seeing it over here. Let's go, Brandon. FJB FYT. Let's go, Brandon. F Pelosi. Hey, I like that. You can throw Pelosi in there. Let's go, Brandon, and your whole team. FJB. That's right. Love you guys. Appreciate you hanging out all the way to the end. Oh, Sicky. Can't forget old Sicky. That's right. FJB. Good night, folks. Check out this book. Check out the new book, Moon Madness, by first-time author J.W. Hicks. Originally conceived in 2015, this fictional novel only becomes more and more relevant by the day. What would you do if you found out that almost everything your government has told you was a lie? In the year 2103, Jeremy Carlson and his fiancée Brittany Parsons decide to take a vacation in a lunar cabin. Everything was going great until strange things started happening after they went to sleep. Are they being abducted, or are they catching moon madness? A strange phenomena thought to be caused by the lower gravity of the moon. After a fateful meeting with a guy named Zach Marshall, things become a whole lot more clear. They are now determined to expose the governing body of the Earth and Moon, known as the World Council. Will the three of them succeed, or will things go horribly wrong? Find out in the great novel, once again, by first-time author J.W. Hicks, called Moon Madness. Available now on Amazon, $12 for paperback, $7 for Kindle. Not adding this to your bookshelf would be madness.